Welcome back to Nordic Championship. We're in for the second series of the day with Riptide versus Fortress, and it's been a crazy day so far. Now these two teams are coming in. Both have lost their previous matches, so now they're looking for some wins.
Yeah, absolutely. If last series was about two teams really competing for a top spot to be a top competitor, these are two teams fighting for their survival in this league at the bottom's brackets. None of these teams have been doing that well in the league so far, but I'm really interested to see what they can do if they're letting that sort of get to their mental state, or if they can still come in with a positive state of mind in this second series.
Absolutely. A lot of things can still happen. And between these two teams, I expect it to be a very even game as these two are coming now into the Champion Select, getting ready to prove what they can do from coming up from a deficit. So, looking at these two teams, we have casted them before. It's Fortress versus Riptide. It's Iceland versus Denmark. And Fortress so far with Cesar and Raxon, Jensen, PlayStation, and of course Lineups up top. I'm going to mention him as well. I want to talk a little bit about them just later. On the other side, we have Nipla, Tartalus, Addy, Hoist, and Bad Habit. Addy being the star play we talked about a lot on this team.
Yeah, he's been doing really well in the mid lane so far, even though the team has been losing. And I talked about that with you earlier off stream, that looking good on a team that's winning every game, that's pretty easy. Looking good on a team that's losing every game, that's really impressive.
Absolutely. And Riptide now looking to turn that around, getting their first win in this tournament. Sejuani has been banned, and same with Lee Sin. A lot of jungle focus here versus Cesar, and Jace on the other side has been banned versus Nipla.
Looking for the Karthus here because Cesar has played that earlier on in the tournament. Yeah, if you want to target Cesar, I think Karthus is a champion that should probably come out in the banning list. There are really strong picks like the Urgot still open to get first picked. So if you want to give Cesar that Karthus, or maybe you want to first pick it for Tartalus.
Yeah, absolutely. Karthus definitely being one of the junglers that are really strong in the current patch, and also the Lucian ban now versus Hoist. And Riptide thinking about this with 2 seconds left on their last ban for the first rotation. Gonna go with the Rise versus Raxon.
Yeah, that's just a strong, versatile mid laner. Looking at other strong picks that's open, we did mention the Urgot. Is it going to be the Karthus first pick? Also, Thresh is a big one that's Bad Habits been playing previously in the tournament, so that could also be a consideration for the first pick.
Absolutely. Karthus is a dangerous champion to pick too early because there are so many ways you can shut him down in the early stages of the game. You can't really duel that many champions in this game, and also the Thresh have been one of the picks that has been highly contested, for the first pick being one of those supports that work out in most team compositions.
Yeah, just so versatile. Can go for the hard engage comp. Can also be really good when it comes to the peeling and keeping your own AD carry safe. And just in general, oh, there's the Yasuo. Yes,
this is what we like to see. The Yasuo has been the first pick rotation together with the Alistar for Fortress, together with the knockup from Alistar as well on PlayStation. That can set up for a huge combo.
Yeah, I think Yasuo is super strong at the moment. First day of the Nordic Championship, we talked about Yasuo in every pick and ban. I think it was banned like once. So then I kind of stopped talking about the Yasuo, but here he is picked, and I'm so happy to see it because with the changes to the crit items, he's very strong, and he's also a flex pick, can go bottom, mid, or top, which is very strong.
Also something that makes you a little bit worried trying to pick up something like this Zoe, that is also a very contested champion pick. Like, you can't just pick Zoe into the Yasuo, also shutting that situation down now for Fortress going with this champion. And now Urgot, you talked about him as well up in the top lane, and the Kai'Sa for Hoist.
Yeah, so some interesting picks right now. I definitely think Urgot is the strongest top laner in the game right now if you're just looking for a blind pick. Other top laners can be stronger in certain situations, of course. So looking to see if the Karthus jungle is still going to come out. Not the most amount of synergy with the Yasuo, but it's a pick that Cesar's been enjoying earlier on. And that is a bit of a curveball.
Absolutely. With the Vladimir pick, of course, though, Vladimir can have some synergy with the Karthus in big team fights, having all of that AoE damage together with that secure damage from the Requiem, but of course the Vladimir can also have quite a weak early laning phase.
And 2 bans have been targeted towards Cesar so far from Riptide, with another jungler getting banned out from Fortress here. I'm Just curious if they're going to be keeping pinching down the jungle champion pool for Cesar and what he's going to go to if it gets pinned down even more and removing some other strong jungle options right now. With a lot of the popular ones off the table, something like Jarvan, something like maybe the Sack or the Gragas could be taken off the table as well if that's the strategy you want to be going for.
Absolutely, and Xin Zhao has been banned so far. Here comes the Zoe, as of course, even though you have Yasuo on one side, you can still go for Zoe. You can pick Vladimir and put him in the bot lane, so that is something they do not want to play against. LeBlanc now has been banned, which means there's a final ban left for Riptide.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this is interesting. This is saying that they believe it's going to be either the Vladimir or the Yasuo in the bottom lane, which could be interesting to go up against the Thresh and the Kai'Sa, obviously. Jungle matchup here is going to be interesting to see as well. I try not to use the word interesting, but I think it's the correct word here because
like there are many interesting things happening
there
here.
are.
Because there are so many ways you can go with this, and Riptide now not opting to not ban anything for the last rotation, and now for the first pick in the second rotation of picks, Fortress now needs to round out this composition with the Yasuo that can go absolutely crazy with the new and improved Infinity Edge, and the Rek'Sai for the jungle, even more knockups for this team.
Love this. This is a Cesar special. He's known for his Rek'Sai. He even tweeted about it, made some statements, some guides on the social medias about this Rek'Sai, how you're supposed to be playing it, and he plays it with Hail of Blades and full damage. Not like full damage, but like Black Fever, Tiamat, really going for the heavy damage build. And as you said, the knockups with the Yasuo synergizes really well. Also like that they pick the jungle there, still leaving Riptide in the dark about who's going to be going where when it comes to the Vladimir and the Yasuo.
So for the mid lane, it's the Anivia that's going to be the pickup for Riptide, and their Addy is going to be the one manning that champion, which means there's one final pick left for the jungle of Riptide. Jarvan is a champion you mentioned that is still open.
Yeah, Jarvan would be a strong pick here when it just comes to providing a lot of counter engage as well as other utility. But there is the Elise, so a very strong early game ganking jungler. And together with the Thresh, there's so much potential to make things happen around the bottom side of the map, especially if you're up against a melee champion like the Yasuo there. Being able to Lantern in the Elise, one of the strongest gankers in the game, that can be very scary to go up against. So I'd love to see this team of Riptide playing a lot around the bottom lane, trying to snowball that with the Thresh and the Elise when they have the safe mid laner and safe top laner that can just keep the wave safe. And that Echo is probably going into the mid lane. I'm going to say this is Echo mid lane, Vladimir top lane, Yasuo bottom. Not entirely sure though.
No, like, this is difficult to decide, but yes, on the other hand, with Alistar, have that synergy for the bot lane, Echo in mid lane, and Vladimir up in top lane versus the Urgot. But a lot of flexibility happening on the side of Fortress, and Riptide need to be able to handle this, and it looks like this is going to be the lane assignments that have been decided. I just want to mention, like, the Elise and the Rek'Sai. Like, this is kind of an iconic duo of junglers that we have seen, like, a couple of years back. You would see so many tower dives with the Elise and with the Rek'Sai. Of course, Elise with the ability to avoid turret, to drop turret aggro, and Rek'Sai with the ability to jump over walls and get into close range of your opponents before they could realize that you were there. Now Rek'Sai can also drop turret aggro. They changed her, but since that happened, she no longer jumps around the map with her ultimate. Instead, that she targets one champion and deals a healthy amount of damage. So there's a lot of tower diving possibilities coming out from these two junglers.
Absolutely going to be so important to track these junglers because starting level 3, they have insane kill pressure, both of them. And I'm going to take a look. Yes, it's that Hail of Blades. Going to be that AD Hail of Blades, Rek'Sai for Cesar, and the Electrocute for Elise, obviously. Speaking a bit more about the team comps, I think it's a very clear split pushing comp for Fortress here. I think it works out really well. I mean, you even have 2 minute split pushers. You kind of have 3 split pushers in the Echo, Vladimir, and the Yasuo. Probably going to be Echo and Yasuo off in the side lanes. And then having the Rek'Sai with the tunnels, with the ability to help out the side lanes really quickly and move around the map in a very quick way. So I think if this game goes to the later stages without Fortress falling behind with a split pushing potential, there's not really going to be anything that Riptide can do to counter that out.
Absolutely, and Riptide is the team that is down at the bottom of the standings right now. They want to pick up their first win in this tournament, so let's give it up for these guys as they are now running up towards top lane looking for lineups.
Yeah, this Vladimir, of course, has the pull, but that's definitely not what you want to be leveling up level 1. Could take the Thresh Hook here if you want to, or even the Anivia Q to try to counter him out. Sees the ward.
Yeah, I'm gonna force the flash immediately. So Linup's gonna play his top lane without a flash available for the first part of the game.
And that's just putting an even bigger target on the top of his head. That's basically saying, Tartalus, go top lane. I mean, going top lane to dive the weak early game Vladimir champion is always going to be a good choice, but even when you burn the flash level 1, expect Tartalus to just get that level 3 and then try to put pressure, if not on the top lane, at least on the top side of the map. Because with how weak Vladimir is early on, the Urgot is going to have priority even if nothing special would have happened with the level 1, and without the flash, that's even an even worse position for Lineups early, so look for Tartalus to abuse this.
Tartalus now showing himself at the bottom of the map at the red buff. There is a ward here that PlayStation was able to put down, so they know exactly where he is. And with this starting point, he definitely can start to move up towards the top side.
Yeah, we'll end up level 3 on the top side if that's the route that you want to go for. On the other hand, Cesar, you can see here, and you might be asking yourself, why is Hail of Blades really considered that good of a rune on this Rek'Sai? It's because of how Fury works. You get that when auto-attacking, and as soon as you're going to be using your W to unburrow, you're going to be proccing that Hail of Blades, and then when you get auto-Q with that extra attack speed from the Hail of Blades, you're going to be generating that Rage so quickly. And why is Rage good, Henning? Glad you asked, Sang. That's going to be providing so much damage for your E. That extra true damage that you get with when you've stacked up your Rage with the E is insane for this Rek'Sai, and that's why Hail of Blades is the rune of choice for Cesar here.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to ask you that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. Anyways, on the bot lane, Max range hook is going to land on this Alistar, and a huge damage follow-up is there as the Yasuo doesn't deal that much damage at this point. He is not ranged, taking a lot of harass in this lane versus Hoist. Jensen also went with the exhaust in the mid lane. There is an opportunity to go for a gank here.
Yeah, I was going to mention the exhaust on the Yasuo, which is actually a choice that I like quite a bit here. Won't give you the strongest early game duels in towards the bottom side, but oh, here we go.
Cesar flashing in, knocking up Anivia. Almost trying to get the stun land as well together with Raxon. Did not have the timing on that. Tartalus has been spotted on a ward. Moving into the top side of the jungle, not going to find anything right here as Cesar simply moves towards the bot lane instead.
Yeah, and this is one of the weaknesses early on for the Rek'Sai, the cooldown of your tunnel. You're going to be ending up maxing that second, but 26-second cooldown level 1 means that he simply cannot use the tunnel in his own jungle. Normally on Rek'Sai, if you'd have a shorter cooldown, you'd want to start to build your tunnel network right now. But because the cooldown is so long, you're going to be in such a vulnerable position if you ever use that in your own jungle. So this early on, it's going to be hard for Cesar to start building that tunnel network. Going to be a lot stronger later on. The cooldown goes down quite a bit, but early, that tunnel network is going to be really weak.
Tartalus now moving towards the Rift Scuttler on the bot side, knowing exactly where Cesar is. Putting down the ward coverage, and knowing Cesar is low on HP, this means he's going to secure the double Rift Scuttler, I think.
Yeah, I believe he got the top one as well. Fight bottom lane, though.
Yeah, fight bottom lane, Ignite on the Thresh, bad habit, and a little bit of trouble down here. Has to flash away, no follow-up there, he's going to force the flash. No CC is going to land on PlayStation, so he will be able to get out, although Tartalus did roam and was able to make sure his bot lane got away safely from that engage. Ignite now used on both sides. Bad Habit will have his back fairly soon.
You can see Aftershock being such a strong rune on these supports. Earlier we saw the level 2 all-in on PlayStation from Bad Habit, which ended up not really doing too much simply because of the Aftershock, and the exact same thing happened there. Yes, Bad Habit was forced to flash, as was PlayStation earlier, but that Aftershock is just going to be keeping these melee supports alive early on in these all-ins.
Yeah, Aftershock being a really strong rune in this mid lane. Raxon is pushing. Addy still doesn't have his flash up. About half of its cooldown is ticked so far. Up top lane, Linux has been left alone. No attempts to come up here by Tartalus so far.
Yeah, not done too much on this Elise, and I really, as I said, I thought the top lane was going to be the lane of choice. Here we go, counter gank though, really well played.
Yeah, well played counter gank. Addy setting that one up. Tartalus will force the flash and trying to chase this one down. Here comes another one as that was a quick pick up, only sacrificing the egg for Addy. So a good start now for Riptide, getting a little bit of extra gold for the top lane.
Yeah, Caster cursing Tartalus there, criticizing for his sort of passive early game, but then he is in just the right time, knew exactly what Cesar's going to be doing, read him like a book. Cesar traded Flash earlier with Addy on this Anivia, so that means that he wants to go back and try to punish the Flashless Anivia. And of course Tartalus knows that's exactly what's going to be happening. Is there for the counter gank, and it's looking pretty strong on this Elise actually.
Absolutely. On the Elise, you want to have the early game. Of course, this Elise is really strong at getting the ganks off. Not as strong a farming jungler as the Rek'Sai is. Still, even in both CS, and having the extra assist is going to be helpful, of course, as Cesar moves towards the top lane and now.
Yeah, with level 6, there is actually a lot of dive potential from the Vladimir and the Rek'Sai, with both of them being able to drop tower aggro with the ultimate and the pool respectively. I think Urgot is a very hard target to dive though, so you need to be 3-man if that's what you're going to be doing. And speaking of 3-man, Raxon is actually making his way up here. They're going to go for this as the stain is used offensively.
Yeah, they want to go for it. Cesar does not have level 6. Still, Hemoplague has landed. Linops, though, taking a lot of damage in this situation, needs to back off. But Cesar coming in with the knock-up. The ultimate has timed out, and Nipla is going down 1 versus 3.
Yeah, that's what mid lane Prio does for you. Raxon had been able to push out the mid lane, was quick around the rotation, and meant that Nipla had to run away from his own tower. And even though he's tanky, of course he went down eventually. You could see Addy starting to roam up towards the top side, but just got there too late, not able to contribute too much. And some good plays being made from both of these junglers. Actually, they are putting on some amount of pressure, but yeah, as you said, Elise is the one that doesn't keep up in farm as well. It's not the strongest champion at taking the dragon, but it's going to be able to secure this.
Yeah, absolutely gonna secure the Cloud Dragon, losing his top laner. Gonna get the Rift Scuttler as well, so for the team a little bit more movement speed. Bad Habit could use that to roam. We've seen Thresh players before go for the mobility boots to be able to roam early, especially with all of the aggression in the mid lane. Right now, though, they are happy at where they are. Going to do a little bit of an invade with Tartalus, getting some CS back as Cesar is recalling right now. And this bot lane, Voice has been farming this up. It's up 70 CS versus 49, although Jensen has a few more of those minions to pick up under his turret right now.
Yeah, this Yasuo, now that you've hit level 6, that Last Breath is available. Definitely the point where you want to be starting out to put on the pressure, try to look for an all-in. But once more, Tartalus knows what's going to be going on, knows what Fortress wants to be doing, and he's in position here because he knows that a Yasuo player is going to be looking to put on some aggression once you have that level 6.
Yeah, absolutely. PlayStation in a position where he could be doing something. Bad Habit tries to land a death sentence, and
the counter gank is coming in. They're going to be trying
gank
to fight this.
Yeah, it looks like Fortress knows what's up. They're not going to go for this fight right now. Instead, just handling the vision control and backing off. Game is still dead even. 1 kill on each side. Gold is 13k. 13.8k to be precise on each side. So not that much happening right now. Both of these teams playing the slow game for now, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing.
No, I would agree with you right there. I think Fortress is the team that likes the game going slow here because of how the split push comp is going to be very hard to deal with, and that is the Rek'Sai ultimate, the Void Rush, really turning out huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Death Sentence not going to hit anything. Is it going to be enough, though? Good ultimate usage under the turret with the Ignite. Not going to be enough to finish the job, and now PlayStation has to run away instead. Well played down the bottom lane for Riptide as they manage to stay alive in that situation. Tartalus now in a position where he wants to fight a little bit, but you talked about it earlier, the lane priority being in the hands of a Fortress. Means that Cesar simply walks up and steals whatever he likes in the jungle of Tartalus.
Yes, Cesar's starting to get a good game on this Rek'Sai. You talked about it as a signature champion for him, has been playing that a lot throughout his career, which has been quite long, an experienced jungler in the Nordic scene for sure. And the split pushing will eventually be there for him, and he has a target onto Addy here.
Another gank in the mid lane. Addy still doesn't have his flash, had to use it in the fight before this, couldn't survive that one, needs to play very careful now around this mid turret. There is an opportunity here for a Hex Splash, but it looks like PlayStation does not quite want to go for it. He was spotted on a ward. He's not going to try to go for a turret die without his ultimate.
Yeah, for sure. Unbreakable Will is such a strong ability when it comes to the tower dives, but won't be able to use that there. Cesar's catching out Nipple here, forcing the flash on the Urgot. Cesar's being very active on this Rek'Sai, which I do enjoy a lot.
Absolutely. Cesar forcing flashes all over the map. Without the flash available, Nipple will have to be much more careful up in the top lane, where Linux is doing a good job on this Vladimir, staying even getting a small CS lead at the moment.
Yeah, that's not something that you're expecting, not the strongest champion
Hex
early
Splash.
on. Not doing too much.
No, he's gonna just use it to try to see, like, if it works. It did. Recalling Cesar now. It's going to take a cocoon to the face and then back up. It's going to go for the recall, as you mentioned earlier, going with the warrior build. It's going to be a little bit of a squishy Rek'Sai, but with a lot of damage on this champion. Another attempt by Bad Habit to try to harass a bit on PlayStation. Not going to hit anything with the death sentence. But these minions down here will be picked up by Hoys.
Yeah, for sure, and I've got to talk more about Tartalus right here, because if you're picking Elise, you're pretty much going to go for the one of the, if not the strongest early ganker. Not the greatest at farming in the jungle, simply, and he's not been able to make too many things happen. Was in the right place at the right time once around the mid lane, and yes, that was a good play, but you really need to be more active, especially when you burn the flash of the top lane Vladimir, who is such a vulnerable champion, level 1, and you're not able to do anything, even loses the red buff right there, and Cesar is 2 levels up at the moment.
Yeah, Cesar stealing everything in this jungle now as Tartalus is falling behind on his Elise. Up top, I also want to mention where Linux did a good job avoiding the ultimate from the Urgot with his Sanguine Pool. So playing well with this Vladimir, although being under some heavy pressure in this matchup.
Yeah, and I think that if you are Riptide right now, you're playing on somewhat of a timer. Eventually, when you're talking about 3 or 4 item Echo, 3 or 4 item Yasuo off in the side lanes, there is not a champion that are even close to being able to deal with that. The closest is Urgot, who might be able to hug the tower versus Yasuo or Echo if he's not too far ahead, but still they're going to be having a rough time later on. So I need to see Tartalus starting to make things happen, and it's not like they don't have the potential to do it. Like, they have the Elise Cocoon, they have the Thresh Hook, they have the Anivia Wall. They can catch people out and start fights, but they need to start to put the pressure on with the comp that they've drafted for themselves.
Absolutely, but Cesar is doing a good job on this Rek'Sai right now, out jungling Tartalus, knowing exactly where he is, denying him his farm and forcing him to kind of stay back, gaining a lot of vision control in the process.
Yeah, just a quick update from the players to this Team Fortress that's having some issues with their Discord, so they are apparently swapping over to TeamSpeak.
Yeah, so
if you were curious what's going on with
so
the
that
players.
is what's going on, and going to swap to TeamSpeak, which usually is more stable. So they're going to stick with that, and then we're going to get back into the game again. But this Yasuo bot lane, it's been losing out in CS, but winning in these team fights, forcing Bad Habit and Hoist to play very carefully around the Alistar and Yasuo combo.
Yeah, 400 gold behind right now on the Yasuo compared to the Kai'Sa. Don't have the strongest all-inning potential right now, even though, like, in theory, Alistar Yasuo, that's pretty much a kill lane. As soon as you're gonna, as close as you're gonna get to a kill lane while talking about like standard lanes. But into the Thresh Kai'Sa, there is so much defensive potential. The Thresh can flay away that Alistar, of course. Being able to keep the Kai'Sa safe when you also have the shield as well as this movement speed boost in our kit for those defense utilities. So if you're not able to go for the all-ins on the Yasuo Alistar lane, you're not going to be having too good of a time early on in the laning phase. You're going to be falling behind to the range champion, but as I alluded to earlier, you don't need to get ahead. You don't need to snowball this. As long as you're keeping up in farm relatively closely, you're going to be a split pushing threat later on that Riptide won't be able to deal with.
Absolutely. Also, Riptide now playing with this team composition. They have the two teleports on their team, on Addy and Nipla on the other side. The only one with the teleport is Linux.
Yeah, this is interesting. I've been seeing a lot of Echo mid. I've actually been watching Godbro stream, another old school and a Nordic League player who has been going for a lot of Echo games on his stream, and he's often playing with that teleport just to get the free recalls in the laning phase and then having more split pushing pressure. But here it is, the Ignite for Raxon, and I think it makes sense given the playstyle that we've seen from Cesar.
Absolutely.
He's been sitting mid a lot. He's really been targeting Addy, and if you're going to be fighting 2v2 around the mid lane a lot, Ignite is of course the correct choice.
Yeah, definitely, and it has been paying off for Raxon, picking up, is it one or two kills?
Raxon is sitting 1-1-1 on the scoreline right now. So I think it's been two. Yeah, it's been one kill on towards Addy, and then the one kill that they got on the top side with a roam there.
Yeah, right, exactly. So they've been able to pay off with this Ignite. Not as good when you come into a split pushing team composition if you want to be able to regroup. But of course, with this team composition, they don't really want to regroup. It's like there's no need for them. They can just simply play the long extended lanes and just push down everything. And I think this is something also they feel very comfortable with playing versus Riptide, as Riptide being the team that is down at the bottom of the standings might not be considered by these players the most mechanical team.
Yeah, for sure we'll have a hard time responding to that. Also, if you're looking more towards the champions on Team Fortress, this is probably like the best tower dive composition I've like ever seen. Vladimir, Rek'Sai, and Echo can all drop tower aggro. Alistar has the Alistar ultimate, and Yasuo is, well, Yasuo. So they can just pretty much disregard towers when it comes to the later stages. Tower diving will be so easy if they get ahead, because you need to get ahead to be able to do that. Speaking of getting ahead though, this is the Echo gank towards the top side.
Chemo Plague has landed on Nifla, and Raxon is there to finish the job. While that happens, also Cesar picks up the Dragon, and this is something you talked about. When you manage to make things happen on both sides of the map, that proves that you are a strong team. You can pick up multiple objectives. Ultimate is going to be used here actually by Raxon, turning this around. Cesar has arrived to help him. Cesar is going to get hit in the face with this cocoon and needs to back off. He's not very tanky, but Raxon almost turning that fight around into a beneficial 2 versus 2. He's going to force Addy and Tartarus to back off.
Yeah, you can see how squishy this Rek'Sai build is. You are very strong in the duels. You are getting ahead from Tartarus in the farm, but still, that's one Elise W when you are ahead in the matchup, and that's taking 1/3 of your HP. So that just says something about how difficult this Rek'Sai will be to play later on in the teamfight. Hex Flash coming in.
PlayStation.
But it's, I didn't think it was going that way.
Yeah, I know. I think he wanted to jump that wall and then decided when he saw that he knew it was there, he's just going to back off. But he really likes to play aggressive on this Alistar. Death Sentence is used. I want to mention earlier that bad habit. He almost got the kill, 2 versus 2 down bot lane under the turret, but didn't land the essential skill shots.
Oh, this is
and
the
now
punish.
Nipla is in a little bit of trouble here, but might be able to turn this around. He lands his ultimate. He is able to pick up Cesar. And now it's Linux instead who needs to run away from this, although everyone are so low.
Coming in.
Flashing forward with the Hemo Plague, forcing Addy to back off. Raxon has arrived. He is stunned, not going to stop anything. And it's going to be a happy Riptide backing off here, although this is a dangerous recall. Raxon finds Nipla, although Raxon goes back a little bit too aggressive. He's under the turret, is going to use his Chrono Break to back up again. Jumping in under this turret, jumping forward, and oh, the damage is too much to handle for Nipla, who's stuck around a little bit too long.
Yeah, and Addy without mana right there. This is the vulnerable Anivia. She's a great champion as long as you can hug your towers, just clear out those waves, scale to the later stages where you try to make picks with that wall, with your stun and all the CC and slows that you've got in your kit. But if you're doing what Fortress are doing right now, forcing the Anivia out on the map, force her to run out in the open, that's exactly what she wants to do, because she's immobile, she does not have a lot of defensive skills. And I think Fortress are doing a great job when it comes to forcing the 3 versus 3 fights on the top side of the map, because that's where Echo shines and that's where Anivia is the weakest.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about it, this tower dive potential that was about as a clean tower dive as it can be. Everyone got away, they got what they wanted down in this bot lane. Also, you talked about Jensen wanting to get even in the CS right now. He is pushing in, forcing Hoist to play under his turret. Needs to be very careful with PlayStation having his flash up now again.
Yeah, 1.5k gold lead. Interested to see what they're going to be doing with this Rift Herald. Would really enjoy for them to go for some sort of a mid lane dive if you're taking down Addy and then pop the Rift Herald mid lane. That's the way to open up the map, because as long as Addy has his tier 1 tower in the mid lane, he's going to be able to wave clear almost forever on this Anivia. So I think just keep going for this bird should be the strategy of choice. Does have the rebirth ready though, so that could be a bit scary for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, like, with this team composition that Fortress is playing, Addy can't even feel safe under the turret. Even if he gets into the rebirth position, even if he can have his Ignivia up, it's still going to be so many ways that Fortress can kill him under his turret unless his team is there.
And Cesar is going to go towards the top side of the map once more, picks up those Krogs, and then he's going to be looking for the top side play once more. I do believe there is a good amount of vision control here, and Nipla is in a somewhat vulnerable position, and I think they just need to keep forcing these 3 versus 3s on the top side of the map. They've shown that they're both good mechanically, and they've got the right champions to play this with the Rek'Sai, Echo, and the Vladimir.
Yeah, absolutely, and Lineups now on his Vladimir is starting to scale up. He has his Hextech Proto Belt ready. You can see with the sustain he has from his blood transfusion that he's no problem at all sustaining in this lane. And now Cesar down bot lane. He has been spotted on this ward, so everyone knows what's up. Still no response because there are not enough team members down here. Tartalus is up top lane instead. Hemoplague is going to land on Tartalus. About to turn this around is Lineups trying his best to 1 versus 2, avoiding the ultimate yet again from Nipla, but this time does he have what it takes? He tries to jump away using this ability to go golden again with the stopwatch, still not enough. In a 1 versus 2 he cannot handle it, and that was the kill. Another player going golden, bad habit down the bot lane using the stopwatch, and it's to no avail. 1 versus 4 in that situation, doesn't matter how much golden time that you have. And this dragon is now up for grabs.
Okay, they pop the Herald in the mid lane right now. They're not in position to defend this, and yes, great choice here for Cesar. Going to be popping that Herald and probably going to be cracking open the mid lane tier 1. Could they even be looking for the dive here? Yes, they are.
Yeah, PlayStation is there. He has the flash if he wants to go for it. Doesn't even need to, it seems like, because Raxon can't handle this on his own. Going to force the flash from Addy, and together with his trusty jungler, that is another kill picked up by the red side. Fortress now completely breaking this mid lane open.
Tartalus started to make something happen, but it was 10 minutes too late. That's exactly what I needed to do, like 10-15 minutes earlier, to put that sort of gank pressure up on the top side. Now it's too late, because as soon as you show yourself on the top side of the map, you know that the entirety of Team Fortress are going to be given so much freedom on the rest of the map. And as we mentioned so many times, tower does not keep you safe against this composition, which Addy had to experience right there. Used the flash and still went down.
Fortress going the smart way, pushing the mid lane instead of going for the Cloud Dragon, which they don't really need right now. Instead, getting almost 2 turrets and 2 kills in the mid lane. Meanwhile, they sacrificed Lineups to get that advantage. They are now slowly edging ahead with 2 turrets to 1 and about 3k gold lead.
And looking at the lane assignments here, I do enjoy this. You do have the Lich Bane completed on Rax, and he's very far ahead in the gold count compared to his mid lane opponent, about 2,000 gold. And with that Lich Bane, he's going to be shredding through anyone who comes in his path, including the towers. So having him up on the side lane in that top lane, I think is by far the best choice for the lane assignments right now. Yes, you lost out on the Cloud Dragon, but you're not too sad about that. You just want to be giving Raxon a very long lane to outplay whoever goes to respond to him. And look at Riptide. They don't know what to do against this, and frankly, it's not too much that they can do. They have to send several people to try to respond to Raxon because he's so strong on this Echo.
Huge engage landing on this Kai'Sa. Hoist has to run for his life, instead sacrificing bad habit. He needs to flash to get out of that position. Another flash used by Jensen. Top turret has gone down, so Raxon is now arriving to help this fight. If they want to go for something else down at the bot lane, Lineups is also pushing, and this is the big split push that you talked about. This is such a difficult thing to handle no matter where you go. You have a hard time fighting, you have a hard time handling the split pushes, then what can you do?
Yeah, this is pretty much what happened in the drafting phase, you could predict this was going to go on, because there's nothing that Riptide can do to answer the split push. Good set of plays for Tartalus, though.
Yeah, but Jensen still wants to fight this out, and Tartalus needs to flash away, cannot, and gets hit still by the Steel Tempest. Raxon dominating, also picking up Bad Habit. Those are 2 pickups, and the teleport means it's Baron time.
This is going to be Baron time. I do think that Riptide are going to go and try to contest this. They do have a lot of CC and damage still on the 3 members that are available, but they are just going to be pushing up the mid lane. Don't want to dare to go for this, or do they?
They don't have any vision, so they don't really know how far this Baron has gone. Now they got a little bit of vision, but not that much they can do with it. Also, Chrono Break is going to keep Raxon alive. Baron goes down, and a 3 versus 5 situation is not something that Riptide can handle at the moment.
Yeah, and with that Baron buff, if the split pushing was obnoxious before, it's going to be even stronger. Baron buff is of course strong in any composition, but when it comes to the split pushing comp, that's when it's the strongest. Cesar gets caught though.
Yeah, Cesar has gotten caught. He tries somehow to flash. I'm not sure. Tried to flash to his tunnel, but a little bit too squishy with this build. The Tiamat and the Black Cleaver does not give that much tanky stats on this champion.
Yeah, let's just say that was an ambitious flash from Cesar using that summoner spell. Still, this is the point of the game where this sort of AD Rek'Sai isn't scaling up to be that well. Strong in the duel still. Here we go with the flashing game.
Still a 5 versus 4 fight in the mid lane. Death Sentence is going to land, but not on any priority target. They lose Addy, and then Tartalus is going to fall soon after. Going to be even more fights. You can see Bad Habit running for his life in the mid lane. Here comes the Baron empowered team with the Baron empowered minions. Are even going to ignore the minions, simply going for the turret as it was very low HP and now about to crack open an inhibitor.
Yeah, this is going to be Inhib going down for sure. Look at this Lich Bane Echo just tearing through these structures. Soon has a death cap as well, and that's before Addy's completed his 2nd item. Going for the scaling build on this Anivia, really not working out this time around compared to this Echo, is just taking over the game at this point. And honestly, this was pretty much over in the drafting phase. Unless Tartalus and Bad Habit could make things happen early on, they were going to be having such a rough time up against the split pushing, and that's just what we're seeing right here.
Yeah, they can't match the split pushing lanes of Fortress right now. And as you mentioned, like right now, Fortress also playing textbook with this kind of composition, forcing plays anytime they want it, with PlayStation running in on this Alistar, getting the knockoffs, getting the follow-up. There's so much CC, there is so much damage, and there isn't that much that Riptide can do about it. They're about 10k almost gold behind right now.
Yeah, PlayStation's been looking strong this game. 007 license to engage, for sure. That's what's happening with him. So easy to set up for the Yasuo with this combination, and with the Zeke's convergence as well. When you're both standing on top of each other, that is such a strong item, because that's like, the effect of the item gets boosted when you're standing next to each other, and because you're playing with a melee champion with the Zeke's convergence, that's going to be even easier.
And now look at these side lanes. This is what we were talking about earlier. The shield is huge, the damage as well. And after that long extended trade, you can see Nipla having to run away with a full HP Raxon, still going for this turret.
Yeah, deceptively tanking right there was Nipla, having gone for the adaptive helm, which I think is a good choice up against the likes of the Vladimir and the Echo. Still being able to sort of hold on to the tower on the bottom side. Not that much that Raxon and Linux can do. This is pretty much just the Baron minions that are pushing this tower down. So Nipla, he's doing a good job when it comes to contesting these fights, but you can see how much damage the Lich Bane Echo does. There's not that much they can do.
Absolutely. The 3 versus 3 fight up top lane also not proving to be that good for the side of Riptide, having to avoid Jensen at all times. I'm also worrying about Cesar on the side. They lost the top turret, and now they're about to lose the bot lane turret as well.
Yeah, you just need to be patient right here when you are Fortress. You are like you're scaling pretty well with this sort of split pushing comp. There's not that much that Riptide can do, so you don't need to take the big risks. I think you can just stay calm, wait for the Echo to push up the side, wait for the other people to push up on the other side. You don't have to rush it. Just take this calm and collected. You are that far ahead, you don't need to take the risks.
Absolutely, and Riptide still can make something happen here if they manage to catch someone off guard. They have a lot of shutdown gold to collect if they can catch Raxon or Jensen out of position. But they are quite ahead when it comes to the items. And Jensen now picking up his Blade of the Ruined King. He has all the crit he needs now with the extra attack speed and the extra sustain on this champion. He's very scary.
Yeah, looking at Raxon right now, 472 ability power. The number for Addy is 255, so almost double the AP there with a Lich Bane as well, providing so much utility and a stopwatch to top that off. There's no one who can go up against him. Nipla can try on this Urgot, and with the barrier he might be able to survive for a while, but in an extended 1 versus 1, there's no way for them to deal with Raxon when he's this far ahead. You did mention it though, there's a 1k gold shutdown, so should they decide to make some sort of a big play to try to collapse on him, that could potentially be a way back into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. But that is also like kind of in the hands of Fortress as well, because they have so much vision, they have so much control that if Raxon is going to be killed, he needs to somehow overcommit without any knowledge about where anyone on the side of Riptide is when he does it. Baron about to spawn now, 30 seconds away. And this could be potentially the time where Riptide can sort of force a fight and force something to happen if they can have an absolutely perfect team fight around this objective.
Yeah, this Baron is definitely a way for them to come back into the game, but Lineup in the bottom lane with the Rabadon's Death Cap and the Sonia's Hourglass, he's split pushing and doing it really well. The minions are pushing up mid as well at the same time, so this is the split pushing comp from Fortress still going on, pulling Riptide apart, and not sure if they can deal with Linups. Nipla's not even gonna try to go down here. It's actually gonna be Addy who, yes, he can clear these waves and he has teleport, so he might be able to hold on to this, but Baron is started.
Yeah, absolutely. Addy is basically the only one that can go for it, but Addy is down bot lane. Here comes the engage. Gonna turn around on Nipla. Nipla is tacking this up, but Raxon is legendary, shutting down Tartalus right there. Nipla tries to flash away, jumping forward, but look at Linups. He's on the backline with the Hemo Plague, and he's going 1 versus 2, no problem at all, picking up that double kill, now chasing down Addy, who tries to arrive to help his team. Going into the egg form is not going to help him, that is the ace, and I think that is the game.
Absolutely gonna be the game. You can see that they're all more than 10k gold ahead. They were 10k gold ahead before that fight. Also double mountain means that you can start up the Baron, force the enemy team to go there almost immediately, and a great TP from Linups, getting the flank down, and this is gonna be the game.
Absolutely. 28-minute textbook by Fortress. They get Riptide, and that is 1-0 so far.
So I'm really happy to see this game after the first series that we had, because when we saw the earlier series, we saw some pretty horrible split pushing, honestly, games being lost because you were not split pushing properly. This game, of course, it wasn't perfect from Fortress, but they executed the split pushing comp pretty dang well, I think. The draft is strong when it comes to building a splitting comp, and they did a good job of it, sending Echo and Vladimir off to those side lanes, and then able to go for the hard engages when the enemy team goes to respond to those side lane pushes.
Absolutely. Fortress knew exactly what they were doing. The communication was on top. Now it's up to Riptide to turn things around in Game 2. Can they go for a better draft and get a better kind of team composition that can handle the power of the Danish team Fortress? We do not know, but we will find out after the break.